Anthony, with the midterm elections nearing, what is the #1 issue on the minds of Pennsylvania voters?
Hey there. So, like it is nationally in Pennsylvania, the economy and inflation are top issues on voters' minds. But there's an important dynamic behind these numbers, and that is, for people who say that economy and inflation are top, Oz is winning those voters. But when you look over here at abortion, for the people who say this is most important, this number of 56% goes up to 78% among Democrats who say abortion is most important. And the reason that's really important is because it's motivating them to vote, and those voters are breaking solidly for Fetterman.
It's interesting because after the Dobbs decision from the Supreme Court, I heard Democrats saying, just wait, this is going to work in our favor for the midterms election. That seems to be happening here in Pennsylvania.
It really is. It's happening among women voters, which is always a strong part of the Democratic base. Fetterman is getting those. And then look at what people think will happen if either of these candidates is elected, because this is always telling. By 87-13, you see voters saying they think if Fetterman is elected, he would protect abortion access. The reason that's important is because that's what the majority of voters tell us they want to see happen, whereas with Oz, it's more viewing that he would do things that would restrict abortion access, so that runs contrary to the desires of most of the voters.
And now back on the economy and inflation, we have data that shows how higher prices are affecting Pennsylvanians. Tell us about that.
So for so many in Pennsylvania, as nationally, people call those higher prices either difficult or even a hardship. You look at these, and this is over 7 in 10 voters who describe it that way. One of the things that you notice is when you see people seeing these descriptions, difficulties, hardships, etc., that puts the economy front and center in their thinking. I think to the degree that the economy is a top issue, that benefits Republicans, not just Oz, but all Republicans nationwide. We see that in the polling. However, these other issues, the abortion issue, the Trump factor, all of those things break towards the Democrats, and in this case, towards Fetterman. So it's always a question of what is this election about, and this is one way that dynamic plays out.
So we saw the statewide numbers. What about issues specifically here in the Pittsburgh region and southwestern Pennsylvania? What issues are standing out for voters here?
Yeah, gas prices is across the board. It's in your region. It's in all regions. Crime is one, and this is actually interesting because it is both Democrats and Republicans who say that they're concerned about crime. Opioid and drug addiction is something that cuts across a lot of regions and both parties. So we do see a lot of commonality in things that people are seeing locally as problems. Having said all that, one of the things that's really interesting that pops out is when you ask people directly, is this race about national issues or local issues? Look at how heavily weighted it is towards national issues. And that's part and parcel of the fact that the eyes of the nation are on Pennsylvania right now, and voters realize that, and then that in turn is how they're casting their ballots, because they're also thinking about that balance of power in the Senate, guys.